Hello.
Hello สวัสดีค่ะ
Hello. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Questions for us tomorrow?
Whisper.
Oh, wait, today.
Whisper.
Whisper.
W H I S P E R
Right. Whisper. Like this.
means people talk, speak quietly, or means
Yeah, it means they speak quietly, but you're trying to tell someone something. It's not about being polite. So some people talk softly. That's softly. But when you whisper, it's like this. Where are you going? Because you don't want someone else to hear. So you're trying to tell someone in a secret way. You don't want someone else to hear. So that's why you would whisper.
or when people do like that means we whisper.
Yeah. Where are you going? Right? Whispering. Whispering is also some type of secret. So sometimes people say, they can hear the whisper of the wind. Right? The wind doesn't talk. But someone might say they could hear the whisper of the wind, and that means that they think they hear.
Ghost.
They wouldn't.
Ghost.
They wouldn't think that the ghost was in the wind. They might hear the whisper of a house. That might have a ghost. The whisper of a grave or a tomb.
Grave.
It's where you put dead people.
Oh.
If you hear the whisper from a grave, okay, then that might be a dead person. But no, the whisper of the wind would be like secrets of the world. Nature's secrets. Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Another exciting question?
No.
Are you ready for some more goldfish today? Simply came for the goldfish.
Yesterday, almost 30,
30 goldfish?
I think.
So you came back today for the goldfish, right? English, not really interested.
I have no choice.
Choice. Oh, good thing you don't have a goldfish for that. Okay, so let's hear about Sipti's exciting day and see how many goldfish swim into her cup.
Today I
8 goldfish.
I couldn't sleep until in the morning because someone fixed the building.
No.
Was fixing
Yeah.
the building.
Why
So-
not fixed? Why can't you say someone fixed the building,
In the past
right?
was in the past.
So why can't you say that? Why is it wrong? Why can't someone say they fixed the building and I couldn't sleep?
Because not finished.
It
Doing,
sounds kind of
because-
right, but it doesn't make sense.
They doing
Let's see an example though. We need something clear. It doesn't make sense.
fix mean done. Fixed mean
Fist.
no not fixed
Oh, right.
means fixing already.
Yeah, right? But people still don't understand. They're like, Sipti, I don't understand. What does it mean? Let's see an example. It needs to be clear.
They still do it.
It's not clear enough.
I
It
don't
doesn't make
know.
sense.
I don't.
Let's see an example. Show us.
Fixing.
Mm-hmm.
Fix means you did something already or done.
Yeah.
And fixed, you talked about you did in the past. You do in the past.
You did.
You did in the past. Past or past.
Past.
Past. And fixing because was if I put was I should say fixing.
Those are all true, but it doesn't help anyone to understand the problem. It sounds like if you go to a grammar teacher and ask them, what should I say? That's what they're going to say. But it doesn't help someone who's dumb. You know, anyone can learn English, right? Even retarded people speak English, right? You know what retarded people is? Benyaon. Right? Even retarded people can speak English. It's not that hard, right? What's the difference? The difference is that when you're teaching someone who can't understand, you don't teach them grammar, right? If you go to a school for someone who has a mental problem, you're not going to say, here's the prepositional phrase. They're not going to understand you, right? So that's the difference. The difference between learning English in a school and learning English correctly is teaching someone like they're a kid. And kids don't understand what a prepositional conjunction clause is. They don't understand. They need to see something simple. So what would I say if I was trying to show someone? I would show them like this. I say, here you are, you're sleeping. Okay? Here's the past. Here's yesterday. Here's the future. Right? If you fixed the house, that's here. It's done. If you're fixing the house, it's like this.
You know why?
You're in the time when it's being fixed. Show someone so they can see. Right?
I said fixing because in the time I couldn't sleep in the daytime.
Yeah.
They fixing as I stay in my room.
As I
Leave.
As
I stayed in my room.
Right. Exactly.
Gonna be bad day.
No, it's gonna be a great day.
Oh my God.
Just think like my mom. It's gonna be easy.
And then
Okay, anyway. So let's hear again. Why can't we say fixed?
because I talked about my day. As I tried to sleep, someone was fixing the building.
The sentence is right, but I'm saying you have to tell someone who doesn't understand. So a kid comes to you, that kid who's going to be in your class in a couple of weeks.
I'm
so
not
the kid
ready.
comes and says, Sifty,
I'm not ready to.
why can't I say fixed? I don't understand. Doesn't make sense. What are you going to say?
Because we talked about my day in that time. As I worked in my room, I couldn't sleep. Because I couldn't sleep, I worked in my room. Someone was fixing the building in the same time. You're very confused.
No, you're just trying to fix the sentence. You don't understand my question. So you're trying to fix the sentence. Your sentence is fine. Don't worry about the sentence. I'm saying a kid doesn't understand the difference between fixed and fixing. What are you going to say?
Fixed is done.
Yes.
And fixing, doing now.
Right. From the past.
From the past.
Including your time now and into the future, right? You're in the time. Fixed, it already happened. So of course, it's not going to give you a problem, right? Because it already happened in the past.
Fixing.
Right. So you would say that if you can't use fixed Because it's
in the past.
in the past. Right, it's not now. It wasn't at that time.
Okay.
Right, okay. Okay, that was painful. Okay, let's continue on.
Okay.
With Sipti's painful day. How many goldfish will be in the day?
Today,
Yeah.
I hope not over
50.
10.
Okay.
Yeah. So I worked in design
In? No.
in my design so I worked on my design about our show.
Not about.
My design for our show until 3 p.m. They still annoyed me, so
That's in the past. We have the same problem again.
they still annoying.
They
Were
Yeah.
still annoying me.
Right.
So I took a shower, got dressed, and then I tried to sleep again. And after that, I woke up at 5:30 or 5:30 or 6.
I show me no. Right? Something like
Almost
that. I got
6
some message like that.
almost 6 p.m. I realized I couldn't come to work. And after that, I talked with you, and then I
Oh,
I
right.
ordered
Right.
food to eat.
We won't give you a goldfish because you did add the D. You just missed the S.
To eat.
You added an S. Yeah.
And after that, I watched a movie, Harry Potter Part 1.
We don't need to say a movie. Harry Potter Part 1.
I watched Harry Potter Part 1.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And after...
And... Oh, no! Oh.
After that, I cleaned your camera for someone. I don't know when she would come.
Not would.
Will come
Okay.
to take it. Get
Get it.
it.
Right.
And after that, I ate. And after that, I ate pad thai. And then I took a shower, got dressed, and worked on my design until time to work.
Until...
Time for work.
Until... One more word. Until...
Third time.
No. Until...
On.
No. Until...
Until...
It.
Until it time.
It was.
It was time to work. And then I came here.
Great. After this?
I will keep work. Keep to do work. I will do work. I will back.
I will...
will back to
I will
back
nope I will
do
nope
I will keep working
yeah that's true but I will
go to do
I will go
back to work
yeah
I will go back to work
right okay only 2 goldfish today. Any exciting news for us cat news
no
are you planning on running away from the show
no
okay good okay so it's time I guess for another one of John's painful history classes filled with
you too
stereotypes simplifications forgotten dates racism okay so what is it
airplane
yes a
First-
famous airplane
first
let's show
airplane
people right that's right do you know where it was
I don't know but I know it's probably
have you seen it before
in internet
yeah
but
right
for a long time
not for a long time
for a long time
no trying the same sentence again won't work a long time
ago
yes
a long time ago
why not for a long time
for a long time ago I didn't see or
what's the difference
think
a long time
about
ago
it.
for a long time
story
no
I don't know it's very
it's
hard.
the same problem as before for a long time means like this and a long time ago is like this
jump
no it's one time it's the same as worked and working I am working that means it's happening now I worked for a long time means it happened for a time frame
but this is done
yeah
In
it
that time.
happened a long time ago
a long time ago
yes right
I
do you know where it is do you know who made it
I can't remember name him but I know just guy
what do you think his name was where was it what time was it when was it
I can't think about it
right well just make a guess doesn't matter show people so they can
Thomas,
see
I
they
don't
don't know
know.
what it looks like
Probably not
no
Thomas.
show them so they can't see okay great
oh
now tell us what do you know
this
about
is
it
a first airplane
A that's true
the first
it's not the first airplane but it is a first airplane that's true
a first airplane
mm-hmm
someone building
not
make
building
made
oh
it
right
you look really happy
they smell like cat food
so that
right
I know just the a guy made it but
no 2 guys
two guys
yeah
two guys
right
but I
don't worry about making mistakes I'm going to be making many mistakes when I explain it tell us what you think happened what did you hear about it in stories in movies because whenever I ask you a question you never have any news but then as soon as I start talking then all of a sudden you have
probably
many things to describe
inspiration from bird
okay
then two guys tried
oh right
tried to create
not about
create something could
not could
can
not can that could
help people to fly
oh there's an L
to fly
right there's an L in there okay
I know just that
I only know that
I only know that.
How long ago do you think it was?
How long?
Would you fly on that plane? Would you get on there?
No.
Why?
It's dangerous.
Who's on there? Where does the person sit?
Probably in first time, no people there on it.
He is. That black thing, he's laying down like on a bed.
Or
Yeah, you can see.
it's black.
Yeah, he's laying down there.
Whoa,
He's lying like this.
very dangerous.
Yeah, that's right. Many people died. Yeah, anyway, so now I'm going to do my painful history of you. So,
American
American what?
people do that.
Yes, but many people in other countries don't think that. So these two brothers, they were called the Wright brothers.
The right brother.
Yeah, the Wright brothers.
Brothers.
And everyone in America knows the Wright brothers, but we don't really know the dates or anything. But everyone knows this picture, and everyone knows these Wright brothers. So they used to be, this happened in 1903. So that was
1903.
117 years ago. Right? So in 1903, before that, these two brothers, they were bicycle builders. They used to build bicycles. They had a company making bicycles. I'm not sure if they manufactured them or if they just sold them, but anyway, they had a bicycle shop. And they decided that they were going to build an airplane. They weren't really rich, but I don't think they were really poor. They had a business and they had some money and they were good at building things. And so they decided they were going to try to make an airplane. There were many other people at the time building airplanes. Before the airplane, they had balloons, right? And many people thought that building an airplane was not possible. Before the Wright brothers, and before 1900, before 100 years ago, people thought that building a plane that had wings was not possible. People used to say at that time, I wrote it down, they used to say, if God wanted us to fly, then we would have wings. And people used to say, we shouldn't waste our time building airplanes because it's not possible to do. And only building airplanes like balloons would be the only way to make a plane. And so many people, though, didn't believe them, including the Wright brothers, but many people in France.
And France.
In France.
In France
French.
means, or in French, French.
The French is the language. France is the
People.
country. Right? In France, at that time, many people were building airplanes also. But the Wright brothers were different than people in France because they didn't tell anybody what they were building. They kept it a secret. And other scientists and other people who were building airplanes were building them more like for science, not to make money. They were building them because they wanted people to be able to fly. And many people in France, and also a Brazilian guy, his name, I wrote it down, was Alberto Santos. If you go to Brazil and you ask Brazilian people who built the first airplane, they don't know about the Wright brothers. They think that it was Santos. He was in France at that time, and he also was a person who built airplanes. The difference is that those people in France were building airplanes not as scientifically as the Wright brothers. They weren't testing them with math and with science. They just would build a plane and they would get on it and try to fly it. And they were more brave and it was more exciting But the Wright brothers were more technical. They built a lot of technology to test the way to build wings. And they didn't want anyone else to know about it, and so they kept it a secret. And so many people in France didn't know what they were doing. And that's why some people in Brazil and maybe some people in France don't believe that the Wright brothers were the first people who made the first airplane because they kept it a secret. And in 1906 or in 1907, there was a competition to test who could build the first plane that could fly without any assistance, without a balloon, just taking off and flying by itself and then landing. Many people before the Wright brothers had gliders.
Glider.
A glider is an airplane without a engine,
What
just
engine?
the wing.
Oh, just the wing.
This is an engine. Without the engine, just a wing is called a glider. Many people tried to build gliders. Even Leonardo da Vinci, the famous painter, right, who
Yes,
made
I
the
know.
Mona Lisa, he tried to make gliders. There were many people who made gliders. But before these planes in 1900, in France and with the Wright brothers, nobody could make a plane that could fly with an engine. And so the Wright brothers kept their plane a secret, and they didn't let anyone see it fly because they wanted to get patents for their machine. Do you know what a patent is?
Pattern?
Not a pattern, a patent.
I don't know.
So if you make a new type of technology, you make a special form and you send it to the government. You have to pay a lot of money, and they give you a patent. That means you were the first person to create that technology. And if other people try to copy your technology, then you can sue them, right? So, for example, probably these cameras have some patents in them. If I copy the camera and I try to sell it, then the company who makes the camera will come and say, we own this technology and you have to pay. So the Wright brothers, they wanted patents on their technology for their plane. They wanted to make money. And people in France, I think, were better. They were just trying to make planes to create new technologies. And even Santos, I read about him today, Alberto Santos, he could have had patents for some of his planes, and he decided to give them away for free. I don't think the Wright brothers did that. But anyway, that's why the Wright brothers didn't tell anybody what they were doing. So they flew this plane on December 17th, 1903. And it was in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, on the east side of the United States, not so far from New York, on that side of the country. And they flew not very far, a couple hundred feet or something. It just took off, and you see it was about this high off the ground. It flew for a little bit and then went down. First, there was two brothers. One of them's name was Orville, and the other was Wilbur.
Wilbur and Orville.
Yeah, Orville and Wilbur Wright. And Wilbur, on the first try, they flipped a coin to see who would fly the plane first. And Wilbur won the coin toss, but then the plane crashed or something happened and he didn't get to fly. So they had to fix the plane for 3 days. And then after that, Orville flew the plane on the 17th. And it took them 3 days to fix it. So then he flew the plane with this on this picture. In this picture, I think it was this picture. He flew the plane for not very far, a couple hundred feet, and he landed. And there wasn't anybody there watching besides maybe people from their company or their friends. But they recorded it, and then when they told people in France that they did it, nobody believed them because the Wright brothers didn't allow people to come and watch their flight. So that's why people in France had said, well, maybe it's not real because they're not letting anyone see their flights. The reason why they did that is because they were trying to get patents for their machine. So after that, many people in France continued, including Alberto Santos, to build their own planes, and they didn't believe that the Wright brothers made the first plane. But the Wright brothers kept building planes, and they even went to France, I don't remember, in 1906 or in 1907, and then they flew there, and everyone was surprised because the technology of this plane was much more advanced than all of the other planes at that time. After the people in France and other people around the world saw that plane, then they quickly realized that planes like this were going to be very important, and they started working on their planes even harder. And actually, Alberto Santos Dumont guy, that Brazilian guy, he actually made a really famous plane after this plane that was very advanced, but it was after the Wright brothers. So the Wright brothers are considered in most countries except Brazil.
Why? Or because
Because
that
of
guy.
him. But in every other country, even in France, people know that the Wright brothers created the first plane that really mattered. There were many planes though, and there were many people that were advancing flight. But this plane is remembered as one of the most important. And if you go to North Carolina in the United States, it says, you know, the first place of flight,
Here.
blah, blah, yeah, like here it is, the most important. And many people are proud of
Two guys.
this plane coming from the United States. So, what else did I write here? I forgot to say. So, when they were going to make this plane, their sister, I think it was their sister, maybe a cousin, but her name was Catherine, and they made her run the bicycle business. She took over the bicycle business so that they could try to build this plane, so they didn't have to work on the bicycles. She ran the bicycle business while they were working on the plane. And then they built many planes after this, and many other people built planes after this. They built planes that could fly for a long time, for hours, but other people created planes that could fly for a long time after that. I don't think the Wright brothers created any companies that still exist now. They made a company at that time, and they made planes, and probably they sold them to the military. Probably they sold them to the American Army or something. But I don't think their company still exists today. Some companies from that time became very big American companies that are still around today. But in the videos that I saw, I didn't see anything about any companies that they made still being alive, still surviving. So then Wilbur died. He got sick from typhoid, and he died when he was 45. But they flew many planes, and I don't think either of them died in any plane crashes. But Wilbur died when he was 45. They didn't say when Orville died. And then one of the first American presidents to fly was Roosevelt. He flew in 1910. So 7 years after this plane, they built another plane, and in 1910, the president of the United States, his name was Roosevelt, he flew in the plane, I think with the Wright brothers. I'm not sure, but I think he flew in a Wright brothers plane. He was sitting next to the pilot here, and after that, many people in the United States realized that flying was safe because the president did it, and so after that, the airplanes became very, very popular, and everyone wanted to learn how to fly. There were some other people who made planes that I wrote down here. There was a German guy named Gustave Whitehead, and he had a plane that some people believe was before this one in 1901. And then there was Augustus Moore. He had a glider in 1898 that's also very famous. But in America, when we're kids, we don't learn about any of those people. But there were many other people building planes at this time. Okay, so the history. So remember, in America started in like 1776, I think, right? So
1776.
240 years ago, right? And then remember I told you in the other lesson about the Titanic and about the Statue of Liberty, remember? So America started like 240 years ago, and kicked the British out, sent the people from Britain back to their home. That was the first war in the United States. Then we had another really important war called the Civil War in 1860. And that was because some people, the south of the United States wanted to have slaves, and the north of the United States said that we have to get rid of slavery. And there was a war, it was called the Civil War, the United States fighting the United States, the north of the United States fighting the south of the United States. And then after that, in 1900, that's when this happened. So that was like 40 years after the Civil War. And then in 1912, that's when the Titanic happened. So I should have done these in order, but I think the Titanic was in 1912. I can't remember now. But anyway, this was before the Titanic. This was about 10 years before the Titanic happened.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the rest of these are going to be after that time. So remember, 240 years ago, America started, send the British people back home, and then about
Civil War.
No, that was the Revolutionary War, and then after that came the Civil War in 1860 or something like that, and then 40 years after that, this airplane happened, and then 10 years after that, the Titanic happened. Right. So one more thing about the flight. So one problem that we have in the world now because of this, a lot of technology about airplanes comes from the United States. There are other countries that make planes. In France and in Europe, they do make planes now, but a lot of technology
From United States.
that is used in airplanes comes from the United States. We have the biggest company that makes airplanes for people is Boeing.
Boeing.
It's called Boeing. It's a very old company. It's like 100 years old. And they make most of those planes that you fly in when you fly to another country. There is another company called Airbus from Europe, maybe from France, I'm not sure, but they also make planes. So there's two companies, but Boeing is one of the biggest. China wants to make airplanes, and Russia makes airplanes, but they don't make as many as Boeing does. So the problem that we have now, I have talked with many pilots, is that, like I told you before, in the United States we use feet,
feet
and in most other countries people use meters. Meters.
Meter. Why?
Because a lot of technology of airplanes comes from the United States, most airplanes use feet, not meters. So that's really stupid. And a lot of pilots who come from other countries,
Confused.
they have to learn feet to fly planes because American people are a little bit lazy about adopting what other people are using, and that causes a lot of trouble, actually, for pilots. They have to learn.
Still now.
Yes, they have to learn to use, unless they're flying Russian planes. I think even Airbus uses feet, and so that makes a lot of trouble for pilots who have to learn how to use the feet system. I think it's the imperial system. Rather than meters. So that's ridiculous and dumb. And Boeing should definitely switch to meters, or at least have both. Anyway, so that's John's simplified version of the Wright brothers. First plane.
First, after two brothers, they could finish a model and ready to
Model? Like a what
pattern,
kind of model?
Pattern.
Design. Okay.
And ready to build.
This one? The design for this one?
No, I mean airplane for used real life, in the real life.
This one can be used in real life.
I mean, they sold to soldier or company.
Right. Good question. They don't really talk about that very much. I don't know what companies and who was paying for these things. But they made a company after they made this plane, and they had patents on the way that the wings turned so that the plane could turn. At that time, it was very hard for the planes to turn. And nobody really knew what to do. Some people had, wheels. Some people were using their hands to turn things. But the Wright brothers, they had a patent on the wings twisting like this to turn the plane like this. And it worked very well. And other people copied them, and then they sued them because they had the patents for that technology.
They're very smart.
So I don't know, they were not dumb. Yeah, they were smart guys, and they were very technical. Other people who were building airplanes at that time were more daredevils. They were just people who didn't care about death. They just built an airplane with luck and with hope, and they got in, they tried to fly it, and a lot of them crashed.
Very crazy.
Yeah, that's what it was like at that time. And the Wright brothers were, because a lot of people thought that it was not possible to do. So a lot of people who were building planes were a little bit crazy. But the Wright brothers were very technical. They built a lot of machines and technology to test the way that wings worked in the air. I think they developed the first wind tunnel.
Wind tunnel.
So they made a room, and they had like a fan, and the fan was blowing air, and then they built a wing. This is a wing. If an airplane has two wings, it's called a biplane. This is a biplane. They built this wing, and they put it like this in the wind, and they tested the way that the air was going over the wing, so that they could build.
Bird.
Yeah, and they tested different shapes, like maybe they made one like this, and one like this, and one like this, until they found the right shape. And other people weren't doing that at the time. They were just saying, well, let's try this one, and then they would jump off of the cliff and crash. But they were very technical, and so they did a good job.
First airline in the world.
I don't know, but
In America or another country, country.
I don't think it was that clear. So what happened is in 1914, I believe, World War I started. The First World War started in, I think it was 1914. And these planes were very new at that time, and the army in the United States and in many other countries tried to use these planes in the war. And so they put a lot of money into making these planes. And so airplane technology improved very, very quickly because the militaries were using these planes. I think that the first airline was some type of modification of a plane that was made to drop bombs. It's called a bomber.
I think the same.
And I think that they changed it a little bit and made it so that people could fly in those planes. I don't know that it was an airline. I don't know that it was a company. But we could look it up, but I don't know what the first airline company was. It might have just been military planes that were carrying people. But for a long time, people didn't want to ride in planes. The first things that they used the planes for were carrying mail. Packages to other places. That's what was the most common first. And then people tried to fly across the country or across the ocean, but it was very dangerous and a lot of people died at that time because their planes would crash. And I think actually Alberto Santos, the Brazilian guy who Brazilian people think created the first plane, he died, I think, in a plane crash also. So a lot of people who made airplanes died in their airplanes that they made. Yeah. Good, okay. Just 4 fish today for safety.
Because you talk.
Right. Any other questions about the Wright brothers?
The right brother.
Here they are. I think this one, I think must be Wilbur, because he crashed the plane before this, and I think this is Orville, here laying down on the plane. Yeah.
How they could land up now?
Take off.
Take off.
So that was one of the reasons why people in Brazil don't believe that the Wright brothers were first. So this plane, you can't see it here, but on the ground here is called a catapult. This thing that you pull back like this and this is called a slingshot. But on the ground it's called a catapult. And they used this catapult to launch the plane into the air, to send it up into the air. So it had some power from the ground. It didn't take off by itself, but it flew by itself. And that was in 1903.
Like when we make paper.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a track, like a train down here, and it pushed the plane up into the air. But that was in 1903. They made many planes after that that did take off by themselves. But people didn't know about it because they kept it secret. They didn't talk about it. No, now everyone knows. But I'm saying at that time, they didn't tell anyone because they wanted to keep it a secret. They didn't want other people copying their technology and making patents from it. But that's why other people are confused about the Wright brothers being the first is because they were secretive. And people in France at that time weren't sure if the Wright brothers were lying or not. But now everyone knows, except people in Brazil. If you go to Brazil, they say, who are the Wright brothers? That didn't happen. But everyone else knows that it's the Wright brothers. But many people at that time were helping each other. It wasn't like the Wright brothers made up all of this technology by themselves. They watched what other people did. They took technology from other people. There was a lot of people helping each other at that time. And I think that actually the people in France and the Brazilian guy were doing a better job because they were giving away their technology for free. They weren't trying to make any money. And the Wright brothers were trying to make a lot of money. And they did a good job, but it wasn't just for science. The people in France and what is his name? Augusto? Can't remember his name. Alberto. And Alberto, he was very rich. Alberto, I watched a movie about him just before I wrote down these notes. And his dad was a Brazilian coffee farmer.
Coffee farmer.
And when he died, he gave the coffee farm to Alberto, and Alberto was really, really rich. And he spent a lot of that money building his planes. I don't know how the Wright brothers got money to build their plane. Maybe from their bicycle shop or something. But they weren't rich like he was.
Probably they had technology from create from bicycle.
Right, but bicycle technology and airplane technology are a little bit different. So they were smart, but building bicycles and building airplanes.
And after Weber died, another guy, Orville, he keep work about airplane.
Not about.
In airplane.
Not in. They weren't as important after that. So after the military bought some of their planes, and after everyone realized that airplanes were important, everyone started to build airplanes and to put money into building airplanes. And that's like I said, the Wright brothers I don't think they created a company that still exists now. After them, and after this plane, and after other planes that they made, they did not create any planes that we have now. Yeah. Good. Okay, so you review for us quickly. What is this plane? And what was it for?
This is first airplane.
This is
the first airplane from United to
from
the United. Yeah, from America.
From the United States.
United States. United States.
I don't know. It's the first airplane from the United States. Like I said, there was other people who built airplanes, but this was the first one that was good. The other ones crashed or didn't fly very far. Yeah.
Two brothers made it.
It was called. Do you know what it was called?
I don't know the name.
It was called Flyer number 1.
Flyer number 1.
Yeah, Flyer number 1.
Flyer number 1.
Yep. In what date?
I don't know. But 90 90 1903
1903. Yep.
1903
But they made many planes after that, after this one, up to 1930, because probably Orville died much after that. So they were still probably building planes.
In the beginning they didn't tell anyone because
Not they.
they
Oh, right. We're going to have to add
They
some goldfish for they.
wanted to keep the secret how to airplane
How to airplane?
how to airplane could fly.
How to airplane could fly?
The idea they wanted to keep the idea about it.
No, we would say they were secretive.
Secretive.
Yeah, people who like to keep secrets are secretive.
They were secretive.
Yeah.
And
they were also a little bit more scientific. They were, when they saw people in France crashing their planes and trying to fly things that were not as well made, they were quite surprised. Yeah.
And after that, in that time, in this picture, after Wilbur flew, he got accident.
No, that was before this one. So this was on the 17th of December, and on the 14th, I think, on the 14th of December, Wilbur tried to fly. He flipped a coin and he won. So he tried to fly and then it crashed. And they had to fix it for 3 days. And then Orville flew in this picture.
On that airplane is Orville.
I think so, yes. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Inspiration from
Inspiration?
Them.
Inspiration?
Inspiration. Them.
Who inspired them? I think a lot of people at that time started to think that airplanes were possible. There were balloons and dirigibles, the ones that have the big ones that look like big balloons, but not just the ones that go up, the ones that can fly around. Those are called dirigibles. There were those types of flying machines, and many people were starting to think, well, maybe an airplane would be possible. So there were a lot of gliders and a lot of people in the news trying to build airplanes, and they didn't really work because they didn't have metal for these. All of this is wood and fabric and cloth.
Because they don't want to make it heavy.
Well, because they didn't have the technology to build light enough metals.
And bicycle in that time made from wood.
No, they were probably metal. But this plane is made of wood, and there's some pieces of metal for the engine, but most of it's wood and just fabric, cloth, like your shirt. And then they cover the fabric with something to make it a little stiffer, probably.
After that, they could make it.
Could make it. They flew.
They flew.
Flew.
They could flew.
Not flew. They could not could flew. They
could fly, and they find to food to some place.
No, they only flew 200 meters. This plane only went like this. It was on a track. It went
Like paper airplane.
yeah. It only flew for 200 meters.
And about
700 feet.
you told me some who of them fly to some place and other people could see.
No, so a long time after this, after they got their patents, then they went to France to show everyone who was important in building airplanes was in France at that time. And they went to France to show people this plane. And people there were quite surprised because it was much better controlled than the other planes that people had. But then very quickly after that, people in France built planes that were better than this.
But still don't have technology enough.
No, they did. They built better planes, but after that, everyone started to build planes, and everyone started to pay a lot of money to build planes. They got a lot of investment from governments and the military, and everyone was doing it. So their airplane was not the best for very long, but it was the best at that time for a short amount of time. But things improved very quickly.
Because two guys made that airplane, everyone in the world
Oh, right.
could make airplanes.
I don't think so. If they never lived, we would still have airplanes. But they helped a lot, and they improved
They showed the right
airplane
way
a lot.
how to make airplanes.
No, they helped out in the development, and they were the first to build a plane that really worked. But even if they didn't live, we would still have planes without them. They didn't. It's not like some of the other people that we'll learn about.
That airplane look like airplane right now more than other old planes. Have wing and wings.
Yeah. They looked similar to this, but they weren't as good. They didn't control as well. The other planes in France, if you see them, they were like woo like this. They didn't turn very well. This plane flew much better than those planes at the time because of their design of the wings. But no, it wasn't like amazingly better than the other planes. It was 50% better than the other planes. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. I think you understand. That's good enough. Anyway, that's the Wright brothers. Everyone in America knows the Wright brothers. Oh, and question?
I saw in many movies about war. They use airplane look like that, and soldier just one seat.
Yes.
And
He's not a soldier though.
pop usually a soldier.
He's not a soldier. Trying the same sentence won't work.
Usually people in the war.
No, what is the person called who flies the plane?
Pilot.
Yeah. But not pilot. It's a pilot.
Pilot.
Yeah, pilot.
Pilot.
Not pilot. Pilot.
Pilot. Pilot.
Anyway.
Used for.
Not used for.
Not used.
I don't think so. Definitely not used for.
fly flew for the war in the war
Yes, that's true. Still now.
in the beginning
I don't know what you mean by in the beginning. In the beginning of what?
in the beginning first time people tried to use airplane for the war not for and then for people airline or something
You mean the beginning of the airplanes was for warfare?
Yes.
No. So like I said, the beginning of the planes in France was for science. Nobody in the military or in any other science believed that airplanes were possible. They thought that it was not possible to fly if you didn't have a balloon. The people who were building planes in France were just building, they were rich people or they were scientists who were trying to build something amazing for show. It was not for the military. After the war started in 1914, 10 years after this, then the military started to put a lot of money into building planes. And that's when the planes advanced very, very quickly after that. And they went from this plane to jet planes in just 50 years. That was an amazing
quickly
move in technology from
jet
this
เครื่องบิน
plane
jet
to a jet plane in just 50 years because of the wars.
Okay.
Yeah. So the only thing that I wanted to say at the end was that there was a guy at the end of the video that said that there was a lot of news before this that if God wanted us to fly, that we would fly. Everyone thought before 1900 that flying was a waste of time and not practical and not important and probably not possible. But after this flight and after the other flights in France, he said a lot of people changed their mind
Yes.
and started to think that if this is possible, maybe there's a lot of other things that are possible for us to
Yes.
build as well.
Because they probably that guy forgot God don't give our wing but God gave brain
It would have
For-
been great if the sentence was good.
give
Try again.
gave
It could have been such a great sentence if
give
we,
the
if-
brain for people
not
human
for. No.
to
Try again.
to human
It's a good idea, but you're being held back by the English trouble.
God
Try again. If.
not if
Okay, try. It's
God-
not going to be your sentence. No? Don't say the same sentence again.
God didn't give wings
Didn't give who wings?
the wings
No, didn't give who wings.
humans
Right,
wings.
okay.
Human wings
Not human wings. Humans.
humans wings humans wings
Okay.
but God gave
Not give. Right.
but God gave humans brains
Is that all? That's it?
that's why
Oh, that's it. Okay.
people humans could make anything they want to.
You're not human?
Yeah.
What are you? You're goldfish. Eat your goldfish as you're telling us the story of the... Not so many today. Try again. Let's hear your...
Today is
The sentence is
3
good, but let's hear it.
days for goldfish.
Let's hear the sentence again.
That guy said,
What guy?
someone said, if God want,
So a guy said,
if
Or someone said,
someone said if God
wanted.
wanted
Oh, one more. Put your cup over here. Come on.
wanted humans can
No.
humans to
To
fly God
he
he would
have
wings
given
he would have given wings
them
he would have given them wings
but
but
and now your sentence.
But I think he forgot about God didn't give humans wings, but he gave humans
Goldfish.
brains.
Oh, brains.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's true.
And one
World.
world
World.
world
World.
world
The L is not very strong.
world
Were.
world
Oh. Not Oh. 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 Not Oh. Tongue farther forward. Oh. Were old.
world
If that's the best we can get. That's all we can do. That's the best we can do.
wanted
Right.
and
Delicious. Okay, anyway. Any questions? Thank you so much. If you want to see Sipti happy about eating her goldfish, then you can't come back here because that's not going to happen. Thank you so much.
thank you
Bye bye.
ขอบคุณค่ะ